T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Each and every one of you, and welcome to this week's episode of Your Manchester.
Yeah.
How are you, Brandon?
I'm good, how are you?
We've got a bear in.
Yeah, right. How you doing?
How are you doing, Bear?
Yeah,
Do you have a name, Bear?
Yes, it's Tansad Bear. I've come directly from the agency. Adam couldn't make it. I believe he asked for a bear, so...
We did ask for
We did ask for one, but you're not wearing the leather outfit I asked for.
Yes, I know.
It's dry cleaning.
It's sad, isn't it? How are we all doing out there? We have got really a special show for you tonight, haven't
Yes,
we?
we do. We've got so many things
fantastic.
happening. Well, first up, we're going to talk to the fabulous Smyth Harper all about the LGBT Foundation.
We are indeed. We're also, if you've been blind or deaf or anything, you've probably missed everything that's been going on this week with Pride. But we're here to set the record straight as we're going to be speaking to the CEO of Manchester Pride Festival, Mr. Mark Fletcher, in a little while. If that's not enough.
If that's not enough, we're also going to be talking to Anton Arenko about his new film, A Manchester Story.
We are indeed.
Good.
And we're also quickly popping over to a venue that is synonymous with Manchester. It's reopening tomorrow. It is called the one and only Grand Central, everybody. So that is all coming your way. Do you go to many bars? Tascam?
Oh, there's a few.
Tanside.
Tam who?
Tanside.
Tam what? What's your name?
Tansad Bear. You can't go wrong.
Bear growled him, and then he bear growled him.
Can I just tell you?
Yes,
It's a pleasure for me to be here.
It's
You're
similar
right
for
there,
us.
Brendan.
It really
I'm
is.
doing
You're
well.
doing okay?
It's a pleasure
And
to meet you
Belinda?
too.
Belinda?
I'm all right. Look at me when you speak.
So there you go.
Thank you.
It's rude to ask a lady your age.
Well, then don't ask me
How
my
much
dress
do you weigh?
size. Thank you. There we go. Okay, we are going to pop over now to our little desk because I think we should get straight on with this. Like I say, it's a very momentous day today, everybody. There's so much been going on, and well, we basically just want to get to the bottom of it. And we thought the easiest way to do that would be to speak with Mr. Mark Fletcher, the CEO of Manchester Pride. So let's welcome in. Here he is now. Mr. Mark Fletcher, how are you? And welcome.
Hello, thank you. I'm keeping well, thank you. Thanks for having me. I always love to come
not
to
a
work.
problem.
Thanks
You've had a
for
busy
doing
day.
this. A very busy day. It's been quite an emotive day, I should imagine, for you.
Yeah, it really has. You know, I think you know me quite well through the interviews that I've done. I'm really passionate about what it is that we do at Manchester Pride. And when there were times where you're facing challenge or people not quite understanding what's happening, it can be tough. It comes with the territory, and I'm here to answer your questions and set the record straight, really, as much as I can.
Well, then we'll get straight to it, Flower Pot. We'll get straight to it. We've got to talk, obviously, your accounts for the business have been touched on left, right and centre today, and I bet you're sick of talking about them. It might have been easy perhaps to put an Excel sheet out for the world to see, mindset.
You know what? It might have been. And what we've learned from this is we need to be really clear and help people to understand our accounts because they're not the easiest documents to understand as it is. And when people are trying to look for fault or errors in them, they're stumbling. You know, I had an interview this morning where somebody asked me what VAT was, and that was a journalist. You know, I think we need to, we could get better at creating the narrative of explaining to people what's in our accounts and what's our funding model and how do we spend our money. We need to get better. I do think we can get better at that. Previously, we've had some really clear annual impact reviews that we've published, and it's obvious now that our audiences value them. So we need to spend time to make sure that we're getting all of this right, and so that people can understand what it is we do and how.
So what is it? How would you describe Manchester Pride then? Your company, your charity. How would you describe what you actually do?
So Manchester Pride, first and foremost, is a charity. You know, we've got 4 goals: to campaign for the advancement of LGBT plus equality, to at home and abroad, to stage an annual world-class celebration of Pride for LGBT plus people in Greater Manchester, to create cultural opportunities for people to engage in society and thrive and feel and reduce isolation. And then also to make packages and grants funding packages available for grassroots community causes and charity partners that are providing essential and vital work and opportunity for people to come together throughout Greater Manchester. So that's what we do as a charity, you know, first and foremost.
How can you expect people to engage when your charities release statements saying that you're no longer funding the Safer Sex scheme within Manchester's Village? I mean, that was a statement from yourself, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I think, again, just to be really clear on this one, you know, the way in which it's been, the narrative that's been picked up and the angles that have been put on are not quite right. So there's been a number of stories, and I know on social media, the furor saying that Manchester Pride is stepping away from George House Trust and from LGBT Foundation. And that's not true. That's just not true. You know, we've had many conversations with each of the charities, and you know, heads up, I'm actually sitting down with my peers, with my CEOs, with who we have a great relationship with tomorrow at George House Trust and LGBT Foundation to thrash this out. You know, we're having to restructure the way in which we're distributing our grants, and that's in direct response to the pandemic and to what it is that our communities have told us. We've had thousands and thousands of people telling us what they'd like to see us do with our funding, and we've been speaking to the LGBT Foundation and George House Trust about this, and we want to be able to clearly outline our continued funding commitment, but that will look differently moving forward as we're outlining what our grant structure is as we recover.
That's and that's great that you guys are going to be having those kind of chats. But obviously, you also put out another press release earlier on, recently in the past week, saying that it was due to the fact that a certain funding agreement had expired and a new one needed to be made. Why wasn't a new one already created before this expiration date came up?
Yeah, so it's not a case of that it expired. The funding arrangements were changing, and that's what we needed to work on. Before we went into the pandemic, we were engaged in conversations, really trying to understand what the best way forward on this is. And then as the pandemic struck, each three of our organisations had to firefight for survival, you know, funding cuts left, right and centre. With Manchester Pride, we were unable to deliver our festival, which is our key stream of income. So I guess some of those conversations slipped, and some of the what I consider priorities were deprioritised at that time, which left for confusion. And it's ended up where we are now, where people are unclear about what's happening and where we're going. And we need to put that right, and we need to do it quickly.
So this would be the 85% that you were down in 2020 then, would it be, of the income that comes in? Of the 3.94 million, I think it was shown in the books. Okay. Is this correct?
Yeah, so in 2019, that's where we were. We'd worked hard to get from a position of, when I started, the charity was turning just over £1 million. And as we've grown, obviously costs have increased. We've increased the size and scale of the festival to respond to what it is that our audience and communities have told us that they want. And we were proud to be able to get to the position that we were in 2019, which everybody has told us was where they wanted us to be. And in 2020 that was decimated. You know, we weren't able to deliver physical events, and we as a charity, we really struggled to get through. We had to put in many different strategies for our survival to make sure that we could be here as a Pride organisation after the pandemic, to continue to do what we do and to raise funds for the causes that we support.
Mark, are you an organisation that raises money for your events, or are you an organisation that raises money to help the community?
It's both. So first and foremost, Manchester Pride is tasked with, you know, creating Manchester Pride Festival. That's our annual celebration. And that event is not funded publicly. You know, that's funded by our ticket buyers. That's funded by by attendees at our events. So when you buy a pledge band, we activated a campaign a couple of years ago just to really remind people that when they buy their pledge band, they're supporting this Pride celebration that's happening, supporting the cause, and also helping us to raise funds for vital causes other than our own. So that's how it works.
Now, surely you've also said there's different listening groups have come across and said that they want to keep the festival stuff going. From the view that it's been taken from the community, and especially online recently, I feel that they're not really wanting this festival style thing, and they would rather more money was put into the village and what goes on there. What would you think of that?
Yeah, we have to listen to what everybody says, and that's really important. As I touched on previously, last year, and we're constantly talking to people. So we want to be really open and honest about this. What we've seen online is a response that we didn't anticipate, and we're going to be asking everybody who has an opinion to engage through our channel so we can be really clear. We have to listen to what it is that communities are saying, and we have been doing that. We've literally, without a word of a lie, we're having thousands and thousands of people that have responded to our surveys when we've asked, what do you want to see next?
Where are these surveys published, Mark?
Yeah, they're online. So after the event, so basically there's a couple of ways that we do it. When we are heading into an event, such as the festival, we'll do on-site consultations. You'll see some of our volunteers wandering around with iPads, asking people to complete surveys on site. After the festival, we do an online one. We email all of our ticket buyers, and then we do another one, just putting it on our channel. So people who maybe didn't attend the event or aren't connected from us, we still want to know what they'd like to see from us as a charity and from our events. So we promote them through all of our social channels and with our media partners to get as many people entering their responses as we can. And last year,
do you think it'd be a good idea to maybe get a new one set out and especially promote it more, especially online, and get people interested to see if people still have the same faith in Manchester Pride now that they did in the past few years?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about, you've greatly mentioned the past few years, but these latest surveys, one of them was done as consultations, one was done this year, so these are very current. And I agree with you. Yeah, of course, we need to make sure that they are open and that we are engaging, but we need to do more as well. We're going to be inviting people to talk to us in a personal forum, in person, and through our surveys the way we have done previously. But this isn't new for us. So that's why it took us by surprise when we saw some of the responses by certain people on social media. And these are opinions that we value and that we will listen to. I need to be really clear about that. I don't own Manchester Pride. It's not mine. It's ours.
No.
And the day we stop listening to what people want is the day we're not doing it right. And I was very clear from the day I stepped in, and have done ever since, is making sure that we're listening to what it is that our audience is telling us that they want. And we honestly do that.
Mark, it would be remiss of me not to mention the fact that you've had to cut staffing, and yet you yourself have took a pay increase. How can you justify that to people who still want to believe in this as a community event?
Yeah, I don't understand this. Again, this is taken out of context and not quite true. I didn't have a pay increase at the time we cut staff, so that narrative or what's been presented there isn't correct. So there's a reference to my salary, and the salary banding for the CEO is clearly published in our accounts. And again, we need to make clear about that as we go forward, so people understand we're not hiding this whatsoever. Our board of trustees who are volunteers set salary gradings for each of our roles, commensurate with the skills that are required to perform that function. And they go out there to make sure they're comparative with public sector and voluntary community sector organisations to ensure that they are what they would have to pay if they went to open market to replace me or to replace another member. That's how our board operates our salary structures.
But still, in 2019, £3.94 million was coming to yourselves, and yet it now seems that the VLBA is having to fund this safer sex scheme, and therefore it's the people that are now funding this safer sex scheme. Can you justify that, or think that that's a sensible way that should be going when it's been 25 years of full-on support for this very important scheme?
I think this scheme, first and foremost, is really important, and I've been very outspoken about this, both internally with our organisation and externally. And our peers and my friends at LGBT Foundation know about this as well. I think it's incredible when the community pulls together like this and recognises that's a scheme that is important and needs to be retained. We would always, and we will always continue to not only ask for, but encourage applications for funding forwards for whatever the foundation would like us to fund. I think it's incredible what the VLBA have done. You know what I mean? I really do.
So the VLBA are around about 35 grand they've raised so far with the people of Manchester. Would Manchester Pride kind of backtrack now and like to give extra money to perhaps match the donation so that this is a continued scheme and there's no break in this scheme?
So this will be a continued scheme, and I'm sitting down with LGBT Foundation tomorrow to talk about what the future will look like for us. They may not want us to do that. What we need to make clear is they've got our continued support, but we need to figure out what that looks like. Now, I'm not in a position to say, we'll offer match funding, and that's not how charities can work. Between all the three charities that we've been talking about here, that's not what happens. We want to make sure that we can make as much funding available possible to them for whatever it is that they would like for us to fund. And they're the conversations that we're going to be having tomorrow.
Okay. Now, the vigil as well, I'd like to touch on that because, it's not really for the two charities anymore, is it? The bulk of the money doesn't go to the LGBT or the George House Trust anymore, does it?
The bulk of, I don't know what you mean, the vigil?
Yes, or does it?
Yeah. Oh no, it absolutely does. So yeah, that's not quite right. That so at the vigil specifically, there's a couple of ways that we've asked, and we've asked both charities how they'd like us to approach it. In the past, we've said that we would fundraise specifically for George House Trust, it being related to HIV, and then in other instances, we've said we'd fundraise for both charities. What each of them have said is they prefer for us to fundraise for the Manchester Pride Fund that gets evenly distributed between all charities and causes. So that's always been the case, and we have suggested that we could change it to maybe make it for one charity or the other if they felt it was appropriate. And they've each come back and said that isn't the way that they think is appropriate. They think that the agreement, the way in which we come together and we fundraise and allocate that funding is the best way.
Do you feel that the way that the Pride Festival business charity has conducted itself over the last few weeks has messed up a very valuable reputation with the community within the village?
I think we've definitely got some repair to do within the village. It just shows how quickly things can change, really. I'm really proud of the work that my team does to stay connected. But what we need to be doing better is communicating and keeping stronger ties.
So why was that not done in the first place then, Mark?
It was. We try to communicate, but the messaging somehow it's got lost. Whether that's because we've come back from the pandemic and businesses are busy focusing on making sure that they can stay open, and we're busy focusing on what we're doing.
Well,
I'm not too sure.
Actually, of the pandemic and people obviously losing money, such as you having made redundancies. Obviously, you raised prices this year when it came to certain bands and the entrance fees into the village and things like that. Do you think that's something that should have been done considering people are at a lesser stage of financially?
So what we've done, we've increased, we have to cover the cost to deliver the festival that people tell us they want. That's first and foremost, that's really important. And we're not here to make money. We don't make profits. Any money that we raise gets plowed directly back into our communities. I need to be really clear about that. But when it comes to making sure that the festival is accessible as possible, we've created cheaper wristbands this year, and we've put available more hardship wristbands for those who are facing financial hardship more than ever before, being sensitive and making sure that we are being as accessible as an event as we possibly can be this year. So we're doing a lot to make sure that we are giving people opportunities. We can always do more. I need to be honest. We can always do more.
So do you think that with obviously a lot of people turning around saying they don't really want the festival side of it, do you think if they came to a listening group and people says, we would rather it stayed in the village, such as the Village People Weekend and things that we've got like that, they would like it downsized that, would you think of that as an option?
We would think of everything as an option that's put forward. And we literally have asked these questions. This isn't something new for us. We do this every year. So these are, what we've done with the festival now, we've expanded it because we had to. We were forced out of the space that we previously delivered the footprint within the village. And we created more options of how people will want to celebrate their pride. We're not dictating what people have to do. There's a portion of our audience that wants to go to the live music concert elements of what we deliver. There's a proportion of our communities that want to go to the gay village. Some of them want to go to our free cultural events. There are younger people who go to youth pride. There are families that go to family pride. There are those that want to go to the parade in the years that we can have it. This year we've got the marches, and there's those that want to attend the vigil. So what we're doing is creating choice, and that's in direct response to what we've asked people what they want to see. Some people don't want to go to what they would call the concert. Some people don't want to go to the village. Some people don't want to go to the parade. We're trying to give as much choice, and that's not because there's a group of people that decided, we just think we're going to do this. That's based on what we're being told when we're asking people what they want from the festival and from the charity in the future.
Do people want to see your charity spending £1 million on production?
Well, that's what it costs to safely deliver the event. So that's not really in question. If we're going to deliver a festival, it's going to have those costs attached to it. So we need to be really clear.
Money for the charity and for the good causes by having a slightly smaller event than what you're delivering at the moment. Because, 2019 was at Mayfield,
and we had
the mother of all venues. It was massive, and I honestly have never heard so many complaints about the place.
Well, that's interesting because overwhelmingly the feedback that we got from ticket buyers who attended that event said that they loved it. We know there were issues with it, and there always will be with any new event, But what we created like in 2019, the feedback that I had from business in the village was that this was the best that they'd ever had, and the sense of community that was there was really high. So that's the feedback that we've had, and that's slightly different to what it is that you're telling me there.
To kind of wrap this up now, Mark, you know, you're obviously your head's been on the block, so to speak, for the past few weeks. Obviously, there's not just you, though. You are working with the Board of Trustees. Yeah. When will we hear specifically from them that's not just a Facebook or an Instagram post?
Yeah.
Where are
you know
they?
what? Thank you, Belinda. You've been really kind to me with that question, because I am the face of the organisation, because I'm the CEO, and that's my job. So my job has been on the whatever you said on chopping block. I don't know, probably every year since I joined, because as a CEO, I'm the person that has to make comments on what it is that we're doing, or explain things, or go out there and explain difficult decisions or controversial decisions. Our Board of Trustees is really passionate about what we do, and they want to create additional visibility. You know, throughout the listing exercises that we'll be doing, they will be inputting, and they will be making themselves available so that our communities can see who they are. But it's important to know that I've got a team of people, a team of staff who work passionately as well with me to continue to make sure that we're engaging and we're doing what it is that our communities want. And it's not just me, you know, this isn't about me. I'm really fortunate to have this job because I really believe in what it is that we do, and I stand for our community and have done for many years and will do forever. So I'm very proud to be here. It's almost an honor, but it's not just me, you know. So I take your point there, and I'll share that with our trustees.
So going forward then, what promises can you make to rectify the damage that's been done over the past few weeks?
To make clear that we are listening, and to make clear the opportunities for people to come and engage with us, to tell us what they want to see from us in the future. I think that's it. Clear communications to follow up the engagement that we're doing, so that people can really feel, those that feel disconnected with us can reconnect if they want to. You know, but we're always here. We are a small team, but we're committed to doing what it is that we do, and the community is at the heart of everything that we do, and that won't change. I can make those promises. And when it comes to listening what people want to see from us as an organisation and what our audiences would like to see us fund, you will see us listening to that and responding to it. And I think we just need to get better at breaking down what it is that we do, so people can understand our charitable function and what we do, you know, as well as giving grants out, the benefits that we deliver to LGBT plus people all year round. We need to demystify it, and we'll be doing that.
Okay, and so to see more visibility from exactly what Manchester Pride is doing.
So we'll see more of that soon.
And hopefully to see more of that. And just off, you're not quitting, you're not resigning, and neither is any of the board.
No, I'm not. I'm absolutely not resigning. I'm committed to making sure that we have the Pride celebration that we have, and that the charity functions the way it's supposed to. And our board, you know, I have their full support, and they have mine.
Excellent.
Thank you very
much.
We
hope your meeting tomorrow with the LGBT Foundation and George House Trust goes well, and I hope that this is all kind of Tipex out and that we can all look forward to a major, wonderful Pride event. For now, though, Mark Fletcher, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you. And obviously, there is two sides to every story.
Absolutely.
And we were talking about one charity there. We were talking about the George House Trust. The other charity that has been massively infected by this situation is the LGBT Foundation. And from there now we are joined by Smyth Harper. How are you doing? You okay?
Hello.
Hi, folks. You all right?
You were listening to all that?
I was indeed, yes.
And what do you take from all that then?
So, look, none of us want to be here, do we? It's kind of been a really difficult couple of weeks, and it was sparked by the fact that we had to announce that the funding for our condom scheme from Manchester Pride was closing after 27 years. It was really important that we got that message out to our community, because basically, if we don't raise the money, the condoms run out in December. However, you can see what the reaction's been from the community, and we are so grateful to the village businesses for setting up this funding drive for both us and George House Trust. It's been absolutely amazing. What I think...
Do you believe it should be the businesses that are now coming together for this, or do you believe it should have been a continued investment from Manchester Pride?
So, we really support Manchester Pride. So, Manchester Pride in a couple of weeks is going to be on two sites. So, we're going to have our brilliant village angels going between them to help make sure people get there safely. We're going to have people giving information out at the sites. It's really important. Manchester Pride, as Mark said, and he's quite right, it's not Mark Fletcher Pride, it's not the Board of Pride's pride, it's Manchester Pride, it's our pride, it belongs to all of us. So we're really supportive of it, and we always have been, back through all of the different things that it used to be called out. You'll remember, Belinda, you're far too young, Brandon, but you'll remember all the different things.
What? Being so young, It's been a palaver though, hasn't it? I mean, there's been so many statements put out. I mean, it's been contradiction after contradiction after contradiction. Have you had a discussion with Manchester Pride over the last few hours that says that they are going into discussions with you?
So, what I'm really pleased about, and Mark just confirmed it there earlier on, is that today, yes, Paul Martin, who's Chief Executive at LGBT Foundation, and Darren Knight, who's the Chief Executive of GHT, we had to put a statement out earlier on today because we got contradictory signals from Manchester Pride. What they said to us in private and then what they initially said in public was different to what was said today, and we need to get that sorted out. So we're really pleased that Mark has agreed to Paul and Darren's request to sit down with him, so we're really happy that's happening tomorrow. We've got a lot to thrash out though, and we need to do it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, obviously there was also the sort of thing that he's been saying in other interviews about that they hope to be able to fund you next year. Do you think this is going to be something? It's a very dodgy word, the word hope. I hope to be able to keep to my diet, but I don't know if I'll be able to promise it. So is it something that you think you'll be able, that it will actually continue, or do you think that there might be an issue with it?
So it's a really tough situation at the minute. COVID has caused really big problems for all of the charitable sector. So I understand where Mark's coming from whenever he says that he can't give guarantees.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, it used to be a lot more straightforward. Back in the day, you know, the funding was split. The surplus that was made on the Pride Festival was split between ourselves, George Bush Trust, Body Positive as was, and then other community groups. That was a really clear way of doing it, but actually we never knew what the money was that was coming, so there was never any certainty. What I think we'd like is just something that's clear about what actually Manchester Pride is going to do to make sure that they're doing everything they can to support LGBTQ plus people in Manchester and Greater Manchester.
I think that's what's been missing though, just listening to everybody and all the messages and all the anger that's going on. I think it's clear visibility about what Pride is.
Yeah.
They've gone from Manchester Pride to Manchester Pride Festival. They're delivering this, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. There's these silly little posts that keep appearing
There's
on
so
social
much
media.
involved with Pride. I know, especially obviously we're from the same home stretch. Belfast Pride is 1 day, Manchester is 4. And there's so many different events that go on through that and so many people we talk to. And it feels like they're not getting as much attention to that, and we're now paying more attention to this festival kind of ideal than we are the heart of the community, which is the village.
I would be really interested to ask our viewers now, what is more important to you? The music festival or the community side of Pride? What actually means more to you? We will take anger faces. No, we'll take
laugh faces.
We'll take
hearts.
laughter faces for community. We'll take thumbs up for the music side of it. So let's see how that goes in a minute. You never know how much you're going to get then. How can you as another charity, an offset basically, know what you're going to be doing with what money if you don't know what's coming in?
So we are a charity that's been around for years. And, you know, Paul set up, well, we've been around since 1974, you know. That's whenever the Manchester Gay and Lesbian Switchboard was first set up, and actually our organisation kind of grew out of that.
Yeah.
Paul Martin set up Healthy Gay Manchester in '95, I think, and then LGF was created, and then LGBT Foundation. And what we do is we campaign for equality, but we also provide a huge range of services, not just in Greater Manchester, but most of our services are here in Greater Manchester. That's our sexual health services, which includes the condoms and lube scheme. That's our domestic abuse services, our services for trans people, our services for community safety. So we've got the Village Angels. There's a whole long list. Honestly, it would take the whole hour of it to go through it. So we know that we need to be able to generate funding to provide those services to people, and we are absolutely determined and committed to do that, and we do it through driving partnerships with public service providers because we provide really good value to them for services we provide. We develop partnerships with businesses that are willing to kind of come in and sponsorship with us, stuff like the village businesses who have been amazing with us, and of course people can donate and fundraise for us as well. So it's always a struggle to get our funding, but we've done it every year, and I'm sure we're going to do it in the future.
And how much of a kick in the gut was it when you saw that post from Pride about them withdrawing funding or potentially or whatever they want to call it this year?
Yeah. So obviously, you know, when it was clearly it was really disappointing because this is a scheme that's been going for 27 years, and a lot of people think, you know, well, we've got PrEP now, so we don't need condoms. Condoms are absolutely.
It's the same thing of that 99% effectiveness.
Yeah. So do you know something? It's a seat.
Yes.
And this seat is getting rid of HIV forever.
Yeah.
And that seat's got 4 legs.
Yeah.
The first leg is PrEP because PrEP stops HIV in its tracks. The next step is getting regular testing, because if you get tested regularly and get diagnosed early, you can get treated, which is the third leg of that seat. And if you get your treatment, well, we know that undetectable means equals untransmissible.
Definitely.
You can't pass it on, and you'll live a long and healthy life. The fourth leg of it is condoms and lube, because condoms is still a really important way. Take away any of those legs, the chair falls over. But if you keep that chair strong, we get rid of HIV forever.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, that's why. So yeah, of course we're disappointed, but we're also committed to working with Pride, and we're also committed to seeing where we can work together for the benefit of LGBTQ plus people.
Well, exactly, and that's what we all need to remember.
Yeah.
I mean, Pride started off as such a small event. I mean, I've always found it strange that the word festival was added. It was almost like we're now going that way.
It doesn't feel like it's really needed. What part of Pride is festival when it should be a group of people getting together and to support the people who they are?
And just, what would you say we had more of, Mr. Director? More community.
Community everywhere.
Can we bring up any comments at this point? Let's have a little look of any that you've not managed to put up at this point. So we had Let the Village Arrange. It's bits. Manchester Pride can do it. Split the two.
It's not a bad option. Obviously, we have things like we talked about earlier, the Manchester Band and the Village Pass. I'm sure a lot of people out there would support the fact that on a Thursday you can walk into that village free, but once it hits that Friday, you have to pay to be there. And what's the difference, realistically?
Yeah, let's have a look at this one then. But I can't.
But the people that are watching this are the people that are more engaged with the community. I think the people filling in Pride surveys are only interested in the party side of it. Well, I suppose that's quite true.
It would be interesting to know where he pulls his
Absolutely, because there's quite a lot of people who go to the party side, who come to Manchester Pride for that factor, but the people of Manchester are more about the community, I'd say.
It's a strange one. I just hope it all gets sorted.
Yes.
Because Pride, when it's on form and it's working for both the community and the people that just want to party, is a great event, isn't it?
It's amazing. Manchester Pride's superb, isn't it?
It is.
And it's not, it's like, as Mark has said, it's about the people. The memories that you've got of Pride, for me anyway, I don't know about anybody else, the memories for me have never really been about who's been up on the stage. It's been the people that
It's the people, it's the experience.
It's the giggles and the laughs and everything that goes with it. It is. Unless you mean, in which case I've never seen anything outside of a pub for the last few Prides. But, can't complain about the work, can you? For now, Smyth Harper, thank you so much for coming in today.
Anytime.
Thank you. All right, then, a fabulous venue that is just reopening tomorrow at 8 p.m. is a fabulous venue known as Grand Central. We caught up to them to find out exactly what's changing or what's not changing. So here we are, then, everybody here at the Grand Central, and we are joined, of course, by Mr. Tony Cooper, who's now took this place on. Why?
Do you know what? We saw it. We saw the petitions to save it and everything else, and then we saw that Stonegate were going to turn it into a family venue, and it's just so important to the music community, let alone the rock community in Manchester. We contacted Stonegate and said, look, is there any way that we can do this? And then we managed to purchase the lease.
Because it is known, it's synonymous within Manchester as a rock bar.
Absolutely, and it goes, going back decades, and it's absolutely steeped in rock music history, going back to Jillies and Rock World and all of that, and it's so steeped in it that, we're losing venues that are becoming beige venues, vanilla venues all the time, and we just couldn't lose this one,
So are you going to keep it as a rock bar then?
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Absolutely. So, the live bands will be coming back. It's absolutely staying in the rock and alternative genre, and we want to keep it absolutely like that.
But keeping it like that's one thing, but it has also got a bit of a reputation for being a bit of a scruffy little bar, hasn't it? I'm guessing, knowing you'll be upping the standards here.
Well, we've literally had control of the building for like 11 days, so we've been working tirelessly, which is why I look like this. We've been working tirelessly all day, all night, to get it up to standard. We've been cleaning it and obviously done some redecoration, put some new light fittings in and stuff. But it's going to be a work in progress over the next probably 2-3 months while we get it absolutely up to standards and make sure that just because you're drinking in a rock venue, you've still got standards, and it's still a nice venue to come in, but steeped in that rock music history.
Well, I was expecting when I walked in here a black box, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, and most people do.
Yeah.
And most people do. And the thing is that that is not what we're going to give them. And you can have a nice venue but still be steeped in that rock music history.
Okay, now this isn't what people would mostly associate with your kind of venue, so I'm guessing you've managed to acquire some staff that...
Absolutely. We've hired Darian, who's going to be our GM here, so asking.
So obviously, then you know rock music.
Yeah, in
You
and
know
out
what
completely.
the audience want. So how are you bringing that to them?
So, as with like Tony said, with Manchester, all the alternative venues are starting to die out. Like you say, when Stonegate took over this venue, they wanted to make that a family venue. For us, that isn't something we want. We want to keep it as the heart of Manchester, keep it alternative, keep it up there and keep it going. Now, as well, with the staff, they want the exact same thing. We've hired staff from that certain area. They want that sort of alternatives. They want to work in that scene. They want to keep Grand Central alive. We don't want it to die out. We want to keep it.
So what can we expect from this venue now then?
So the things we expect is everything just to keep things the way they were. Obviously, we have to up the standards a little bit in regards to how we found the venue, but it's going to be staying alternative. There's still going to be live bands, different sort of nights on for different genres of music. Just keep it going, keep it flowing.
Excellent. Tony, Darian, thank you so much. Make sure you come and check out this fabulous venue. It's Grand Central on Oxford Road here in Manchester city centre. So here we are, then everybody here. Flow. There we go. Well, you see, it's all going on, isn't it? I'm looking forward to that venue being open. I might, people say I look like Sharon Osbourne, so I might pop in. You can be Ozzy. Oh, how's that?
Sharon!
Thank you. All right then, we joined him a few years, I think about 2 years ago now. We were talking about a fabulous film that he was generating money for, generating funding for. I think it's nearly done, but let's find out more as we talk to Anton Orenko about a Manchester story. Welcome, Anton.
Hi, Belinda. Hi, Brandon. Thank you for having me again.
No problem. How's the journey been, Flower?
It has been an amazing journey. I was saying the other day on another interview, it's taught me more than any classroom ever could. Making a Manchester story, it really has, and I've been so fortunate with the team I've had who've helped me make it, with the people I've had in it, and it's just been an incredible journey. But it's definitely not been necessarily an easy one, but it's been a great journey.
So what exactly is the Manchester story about then?
So A Manchester Story is a positive documentary focusing on the healing efforts that were made in the aftermath of the Manchester Arena bombing. So we feature a range of individuals from across the city and even beyond who've really contributed to the community and helping rebuild it and really turning people's lives around. And, having that sad incident as the basis of why they did those things.
That's amazing. So, where you've done this now, have you? Is it completed? Is it ready for everybody to see?
Yes, it is. It is fully complete. It is going live next Sunday, so you can pre-order it now on Vimeo. It's coming to other platforms and DVD a couple months later. But I'm super happy with it. It's definitely achieved the vision I had for it, because it was not an easy undertaking. I was still at university and stuff, and this is the biggest thing I've done, because it's 90 minutes and I had to keep coming up because I studied down south, and I had to keep coming back up to Manchester, which I love Manchester and I love coming back up here, but having to balance that with work, uni and everything, it was a real learning curve.
Marvellous. So it's ready to go. What can we expect from it? How would you describe this and perhaps sell it to people so they watch this?
I think it is a eye-opener to that event, and I really think everyone knows what happened that evening, that tragic evening 4 years ago, but this is the other part of what happened, and this is this is a Manchester story. This is what happened in the aftermath, and what incredible people we have in this city and what they've been doing to rebuild it and heal those people. I think it's definitely got some heartfelt moments. It's also got a bit of light Manchester humour in there, but it definitely is a reflective film that really does, I think, speak for what the incredibleness of this city is and what its people do around here.
Well, again, you've been one of those Mancunian people that have fully made something happen, Flower, and we love to have people like you on this show. Yes. And we've enjoyed following your journey, but what is next for you then?
Well, I think it's just getting this film out first, but I'm actually sadly not living in Manchester anymore. I live up in Blackpool.
Default.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mancunian people up here, so it's all good. But I definitely would like to go on to make more films that really provoke and really tell stories and stuff. I'm not quite sure what they'll be, but we'll see what happens.
We expect to see more from you in the future.
Thanks
so much.
Definitely. Yes. No problem. Anton, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Belinda.
Thank you. Right, well, I tell you what, we are all over the shop. We really, really are.
When are we not?
When are we not? It's getting warm in here, though, isn't it? Well, let's have a look at the weather.
Hello my lovely weather watchers and welcome to this week's weather forecast with me, Paul Rudd. Well, it's felt more autumn weather than August weather, hasn't it? We've had thundery downpours, very windy and really, really cold. We've even had the heating on in the Rudd's household. But you know what? We're going to blow that to one side. Okay, let's check out this week's weather. It's looking a bit better. Here come the details. Thursday is cloudy with the temperatures of 21 degrees Celsius. Friday is sunny and cloudy with the temperatures of 20 degrees Celsius. And as we head into the weekend right now, Saturday is looking sunny and cloudy with the temperatures of 20 degrees Celsius, and Sunday is looking cloudy with the temperatures of 20 degrees Celsius. So it's not looking that bad this week, and we are meant to be getting a heat wave coming up, and I'll keep you posted for that. Alright, that's it from me. Be good, stay safe. It's time to hand over back to the studio for this week's amazing episode of Your Manchester.
He's a little cutie pie, isn't he? He really is. More to come next week. We've got a fantastic show lined up for you as well.
We always do.
I'll get my phone out in a minute and have a look what's on the show. In the meantime, that's not in focus. In the meantime, let's speak to our lovely Hales about what's on the box. Hello, love. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right. It's been a while.
It's been about 2 weeks or so. No, more.
You've been more busy though, haven't you?
I'm really busy with projects all over the place.
So it's all come back to you then?
It's all coming back. It's like 4 scripts on the go.
But you've still been managing to keep your eye on the box.
Just.
What's on the box
just
then?
about.
What's important? What should we be keeping an eye out for?
Well, do you want me to go right into camera now? Do you want me to talk to you? I should just talk into camera. So, wow, who was watching the Olympics? That's all I basically watched for like nearly 2 weeks. I've always loved it ever since I was a kid. And I noticed as well that a large amount of the medalists were actually Northern. Big up the North! Hooray! And don't forget, the Paralympics starts as well in just over a week, so I'll definitely be cheering GB on then. It's the only type of sport thing I really watch is Olympics and Paralympics. Absolutely love it. I'm really on the end of my seat. Now, I know I've mentioned this before a good few weeks back, but I've actually finished it all now. Jane the Virgin. If you haven't seen it, you must. It's poignant, it's brilliantly funny, inclusive casting, strong female lead characters, and there isn't a show quite like it. It's on Netflix, and I'm really missing it already. Now, over on iPlayer, if you like musicals, there is Proms in the Garden. I think that's on the platform for another month. And if you want a bit of fun, I literally started last night watching a series on Netflix. There's 4 series of, what is it called? Oh yeah, it's called Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Nearly forgot then, just started watching it. So do get on that. It's a comedy musical and you'll absolutely love it. That's it from me. I shall catch you next time. And remember, stronger together. Bye.
Thank you, Haley.
Oh, that was close. Did you listen to all that?
I did. It was brilliant.
I think we should turn you into a rainbow bear flower.
Can I sing a song for you?
Go on, sing a song.
It's especially for you, Belinda.
Thank you.
What about it?
It's unforgettable. I forgot the words.
Oh, for God's sake.
She's gonna get emotional.
I was getting emotive and everything. I was channeling near the tenor.
I knew you could have.
I was, honestly. Well, that is the show up done for today, everybody.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's been fun, hasn't it?
It has. It's been one of the most interesting shows in a long time, I'd say.
It's flown as well.
It has.
Next week, we've got a load more guests for you, and if you want to find out more, don't forget, if you've enjoyed the show, but you don't particularly want to look at this beautiful ginger.
I don't see what...
Or this. Then make sure you can check out the podcast, which is available from the weekend, everybody.
Yes.
And
it's live on
available.
Spotify,
Yes.
iTunes, anywhere you can find a podcast, you will find us.
Oh, that sounds
Indeed.
brilliant.
I don't know how. Have you got the windows open? He's only got one now. Can you do the Your Manchester with that good arm?
I think I can, yeah.
All right, let's try
all
it then.
together.
Thanks very much for watching this week's episode of
Your Manchester!